What's up, guys? Justin here with TheSketchUpEssentials.com, back with the second part of our SketchUp modeling piece on the Beauty and the Beast movie poster. So if you remember in the first tutorial, I came in here and showed you how to model this basically this rose inside this glass case. Now we're going to build kind of a scene around it. So we're going to build a background, and we're going to mess with the lights a little bit and make it look a little bit more realistic, do a little bit with the style, stuff like that. So let's go ahead and jump into this thing. So first thing we're going to want to do is, if you take a look at the movie poster, what it's got is it's got kind of this Gothic type window behind it. So we're going to go find something like that in the 3D warehouse. And that's the great thing about the 3D warehouse, is you don't necessarily have to model all that stuff yourself, especially if you're more trying to create a scene instead of spending hours and hours modeling a Gothic window. We can just go find one. So let's go in here and open up the 3D warehouse and just look for Gothic window. So you can come down here, there's a lot of different options. The one I am looking for is the Big Gothic Window by Gordon N. So we're going to go ahead and bring that into our model. And just remember, this is a bigger model with a lot of polygons in it, so it can kind of slow your model down. That's not necessarily the end of the world, we just have to be smart about it. So look for this Big Gothic Window by Gordon N, and then go ahead and click the download button, and we're going to go ahead and drop that into our model. So it's going to take you a little while. It'll take me even longer because my internet connection is kind of slow where I live. Alright, so once that loads and kind of processes, you can go ahead and place that in your model somewhere. It really doesn't matter where, because we're going to move it around with the rotate tools and the scale tools and all that stuff. So just go ahead and set that in your model. You can double click and erase the default model that's in there. And then the first thing we're going to do is we're going to rotate this. And you can do that using the move tool. Just kind of rotate this until it's at 0 degrees so that we can place it behind our model that we made down here. So first of all, start off with that, and then we're just going to use the scale tool to kind of resize it a little bit so that it kind of fits a little better with what's in our model. And you know, that's kind of a feel thing. You kind of have to kind of use your imagination with how big that is and everything else, because remember, we're going to create kind of a scene where we're looking up a little bit, because I want to be able to get some of this Gothic stuff in the shot that we're going for. But so go ahead and just kind of set your initial scale on here, and that's going to change a little bit, but for now, go ahead and set your initial scale to something that looks kind of good. So, and I'm just going to come in here, I'm going to erase this guideline out because we don't really need that. So it looks like I'm going to have to go track down this other guideline too. Here we go. So you can erase that out. So great. So now what you've got is you've got this kind of cool Gothic window, and then you've got our two models that we had in here from the last time that we did this. And I'm going to go ahead and put these in a group. If you're going to be just kind of moving stuff around, it's a good idea to go ahead and dump stuff into a group. So let's go ahead and start off by just kind of centering this on the window. And remember, this is all kind of a feel thing at this point. So you're really just going with what feels good and what looks good. So go ahead and center that on the window. And one thing that we're going to want to do is probably bring in a table model as well, something this can be sitting on. So go back to your 3D warehouse, and what did I look for? I believe I searched for ornate table, because I was looking for something that was going to be, you know, kind of nice, like you might find in like a French castle or something like that. And I found this console table in here, and that actually seemed to fit with what I was doing pretty well. So I want to go ahead and bring that in. So that's the Dundas console table 1768. So give that a minute to load, and then do kind of the same thing where you place this. And the best way to move stuff is always just to move it along the different axes. So, you know, as you're moving stuff around, it's always a good idea to move it up and use this model as kind of an inference point, and then move it left and then move it right instead of trying to move it all at once. It's just a lot better to do it this way. So I'm going to go ahead and set this on the corner over here, and then we're going to go ahead and use the scale tool to just kind of fit it to the outskirts of this piece right here, and then you can move it back so that it's flush. So we'll go ahead and start like that, and probably what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to scale this out some. And if you scale it out and you feel like you're getting a little bit of a if you feel like you're warping this a little bit, it is okay to take this and kind of scale it sideways too, to get your proportions back the way that you like them. So anyway, so we've got that in there a little bit. And then one thing that it's important to do when you do this is make sure that the bottom of your model here isn't below this face. So it's okay if it's a little above the face, but what you don't want to do is you don't want to put it so low that you're losing your edges down here, because that's going to be a little important a little bit later on. So anyway, but you can go ahead and set this in here, and just generally kind of look around, see if you're going to be able to get what you want in your image. And if you are, great. If not, just keep modifying this until you can get kind of the image that you want. So next thing we're going to do is we're actually going to modify the style in order to put a background in here. So I don't know how many of you watched the video I did earlier this week about messing with styles, but you can come in here and you can use a watermark in the background to create a background. So I've got a few different images in here, but I've got this one of the German mountains that I want to go ahead and put in here. And so sorry, let me back up. I think I went a little fast here. So you're going to go to the styles section of your tray over here, and in your style, you're going to come over here and you're going to click edit. And edit is where you can adjust your different style settings. And we're going to go to this fourth box over here that says watermarks. And what we're going to do is we're going to click this plus, and that's going to allow us to bring an image in that we can set as a background. So when you double click on an image, it's going to give you the option to either set something as an overlay or a background. So if you set it as a background, it's going to set it behind your model. If you set it as an overlay, it's going to put it in front of your model. So we want to go ahead and set this as background. Click next. And in this case, we want this blend option basically adjust the transparency of the image we bring in. Since this is going to be in the very back, we don't want this to be transparent at all because you won't be able to see it very well. You want this to be fully to image right here. So, and you can call this background image, whatever you want. And go ahead and click next. And you can see now what that does is that takes that image and it puts it behind our model. No matter what, no matter how we rotate it, it always puts it behind the model in the same place. And you can come in here and mess with that. But first thing you're going to notice is if you have this scene right here, it's kind of snowy and nasty in the background and all of that, but then the image that we have here is really sunny. So what we're going to do to fix that is we're going to come in here, we're going to add another watermark. So click this plus again, and what I've done is I've found this image that's kind of a snowy background, and I'm going to go ahead and bring that in. And what we're going to do with that is we're also going to set that to background and click next. But if you kind of look over here in the corner, what this is doing is this is adding, it's kind of layering your different backgrounds right here. So in this case, we want this one to be between our background image and our model. So you can go ahead and use transparency right here to adjust that overlay, but what we can do is we can use that to adjust the way that our image looks. So you see, like, the darker I make this, the more you can see that snowy image. So you need it to be transparent enough that you can see the mountains out in the background, but not so transparent that you can tell that it's sunny and it's got blue skies. So you want that, you kind of got to find the balance in here. But you can go ahead and pick whatever's going to work for you, and then you can call this snow. Click that next button, and then it really doesn't matter if you lock the aspect ratio. Actually, you probably want to unlock the aspect ratio on this one. So when this lets you stretch it to fit the screen, but if you lock the aspect ratio, it can leave some space around the edges here. So lock aspect ratio so that it stretches it across the entire screen, so you don't have some sunniness peeking in around the image here. So you can go ahead and click finish. And so now you see what you've got is you've got this kind of Gothic scene in here with kind of a fancy table and all of that. You've got snow and mountains out in the background, but obviously part of your problem here is you've got this stuff showing around the edges. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to come in here, and first of all, for now, you can go ahead and uncheck display watermarks, just so it's not loading all that stuff in the background. But what we're going to do here now is we're just going to create kind of a generic wall with the rectangle tool along both sides of this. So you can go ahead and lock that to the axis just like this, but just kind of draw a rectangle off in the distance. And then you can do the same thing up above too. Just remember that we're going to have to come in here and make sure this face kind of follows along here. So, and that's fairly easy to do. Just keep kind of drawing this piece in here. And then just kind of draw an arc along this piece. So set your 2 points. And then set it along this face as much as you can. And you can see what that did is that created a face along this edge so you don't have any gaps that light can leak in. And then you can come in here and you can erase these pieces. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use the move tool to make a copy of that. And then just use the scale tool to flip it in place. So if you flip it in place, if you flip it to -1, you could probably right click on this and select flip along axis as well. But then you can move this piece back. You can go ahead and erase that. You probably need to draw a background down here as well. Just like this. And this may close this piece in. Just come in here and just delete the face that it adds right there. And then you can erase these guys. So now what you've got is you've just got this wall in here. So you've got a wall with this Gothic window, and then you've got your backgrounds over here that you can turn on and off by displaying watermarks. So, and remember that a good way to go about this in SketchUp is to only model what you want in your scene. So you could get in here, you could create like a whole castle and everything else, but if the only scene you're trying to draw is just looking at this rose looking out the window, there's really no point to doing that. So just remember to only model the stuff that you absolutely have to in order to get your scene. It's going to save you a lot of time in the long run. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to adjust some other stuff to make this look a little more sketched in, almost like it was drawn in pen or pencil or whatever. So we're going to use some more style settings in here. But first of all, I feel like just the general scene in here, this is a much more kind of gloomy scene. So we're going to come in here, we're going to add some darker colors to some of this stuff in order to you know, kind of fit the feel of the scene. So you can come in here with kind of a dark gray. You can maybe lighten this piece up a little bit in order so that you can get your view here, but it looks kind of like a night scene. So a couple other things you can do. First of all, as part of the zoom tool, you can adjust your field of view. So your field of view is how much is shown in your image. So like if you've ever seen like a GoPro camera, they have a much wider field of view than a normal camera. That's how you get that kind of like fisheye widescreen thing. Well, you can create kind of the same effect in SketchUp by adjusting your field of view. That's going to allow more stuff in your image. And so the way that you're going to do that is just come over here, click on this zoom button, and then you can hold the shift key, and you see how in the corner it says field of view. So in this case, the field of view is 49 degrees. If I really zoom that out to like 80 or 90, you can see how it distorts everything a little bit, but it also lets you see a lot more stuff. So you definitely don't want your field of view to be all the way up to like 111 or anything like that. You can see how that distortion kind of happens. You just kind of have to find something that works for you. Like in my case, I'm really trying to find something where I'm looking up at this Gothic window. I don't want to create a whole lot of distortion in here, but I do want to be able to see enough that it looks like I've got a, you know, kind of a fan. I've got this kind of magical rose thing in front of a window and be able to show enough of that window that it kind of makes sense. So I think I kind of liked it when I was at about 50. That gave me a little bit of window in my view, but also not so much that it distorted everything a whole bunch. So, and one other thing I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to change the color of this table because I don't like this green. I think I'd rather have this in here as kind of a darker brown, kind of like a fancy wood type thing. So you can come in here, you can adjust that color, and then even once you've set a color, you can come in here and you can turn things like the brightness down. So if I want that to be even darker, I can come in and do that. So, and then, I mean, from this point, it's all you kind of feeling out, you know, how you want this stuff to look. Like, you know, if you look at this image in here, you can see that this almost looks like it has moonlight shining on it. And so what you can do is you can come in here, you can select this clear glass color, and again, you can kind of adjust that brightness up a little bit. But then you can also turn the opacity down. So you get a little bit more of a brighter, you get more of a brighter look to this piece right here. So, you know, so I've kind of got the general, view that I'd like and everything else. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to come in here and I'm going to start adjusting my line styles. So because this is fine, and you should probably save your model at some point in here as well. You don't want to lose all your work, so just come in here and click save. So this is fine, you know, but it does look like you came in here and you modeled it in SketchUp. You know, all your lines are very precise lines and everything else. So what I want to do is I want to come in here and I want to start editing some line type, some line visibility. So first of all, I want to turn on jitter. You can see how as soon as you turn on jitter, all of a sudden your lines aren't as precise as they were before. Then you can also come in here. I don't think I want endpoints, but maybe a little bit of extension. You don't want back edges, maybe a little bit of depth cue, but you can see how already your line weights kind of vary a little bit. This has a little bit more of an artistic, like hand sketched feel in here. So it's a lot, in my opinion, it's a lot better look than what you had in here before. So you can come in here and you can just kind of mess around with this stuff and see if you like the way some of this looks. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but just kind of make the image that you want. And then what you can do is you can come in here, you can click view, animation, and add scene. And what that's going to do, first of all, so I'm trying to save my camera view, but it's going to ask what I want to do with my style changes, because it's asking if I want to update the default style. I don't want to do that. I just want to save that as a new style. So just select save as a new style and click create scene. And the reason that's important is now I can come in here and I can change this back to my default style. I can move around and adjust my model. And then, you know, once I've done that, then I can just come back here and I can click on this scene 1 and it'll go back to your camera angle. It'll come back to your styles in here. So it's a great way to come in here and save stuff. So you can try out different angles, different stuff like that. So you can jump between the different pieces. So let's say maybe I wanted to try this view right here. Then I could just click add, and I could add multiple scenes in here like this. So you can add multiple scenes, or let's say you wanted to keep the same line weight settings and background settings and stuff like that, but you wanted a different camera view. You could also add a scene for a different camera view. And that way you can just kind of jump around between your different pieces and try a lot of different things. And that's the power and the nice thing about SketchUp and the way that it works is you can try a whole bunch of different things, get a feel for which ones are going to have kind of the going to do what you want, and you can just try a whole bunch of different stuff, and so it's very forgiving like that. So last thing I'm going to do before I export this video or export this scene is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to turn the axes off, so you don't have a green line running in the background right here. But I'm fairly happy with the way this whole thing turned out. So anyway, I think for right now, the last thing I'm going to show you is just how to export that. So you can go to File, you can click Export. Whoops, don't click 3D Model. Go in here, click File, Export, 2D Graphic. And what that'll do is that'll let you export an image of your current view as a as an image, so you can export a JPEG or a PNG or whatever, and then you can come in here and you can open that up once it exports. So you can come in here and you can open that up as an image, just like this. So now you've got this image you can post to Instagram or send out to a client or whatever it is that you want to do. So I think that's where I'm going to wrap this video up. If you liked it, please remember to click that like button down below. If you're new around here, click that subscribe button for new SketchUp content every week. If you really like what I'm doing, please consider supporting me on Patreon. Every little bit helps, even if it's only $1 a month, to help me just keep bringing you great SketchUp content. But in any case, it really means a lot to me that you guys take the time to watch my videos, and so thank you very much, and I will catch you in the next video. Thanks, guys.